Welcome to Part 2 of the DataWorx PLC Professional Demonstration Setup. Database interaction driven by Automation Direct Logic PLCs. We are now ready to work in DataWorx PLC Professional to create a PLC configuration which includes PLC procedures for database interaction such as inserts and selects. Once we save the PLC configuration, we'll look in the monitor window and check the status. Open the DataWorx PLC Professional Server program. Make sure that the service status is installed and running. The DataWorx PLC Professional Server runs as a service in the background. It waits for the PLC to send it information. Close the DataWorx PLC Professional Server program. The service will continue to run in the background. Open the DataWorx PLC Professional Monitor program. Here we will set up a configuration for a PLC that DataWorx should expect to receive information from. This way DataWorx will know what to do with the information or the database request that the PLC is sending. The server address defaults to localhost. Click Connect and the monitor will connect to the DataWorx service running on the same computer. Choose the Options menu, select Configure Server, and click Add. The PLC configuration window will open. Type in or browse for the PLC IP address. Specify the database type. In our example, we are using a Microsoft Access database. Browse to or type in the file name path. Our database is called plantoperations.mdb. Click Connect. Now that we have established a connection with the target database, let's configure the PLC memory. Click the Configure PLC Memory button at the bottom of the configuration page. The Configure PLC Memory window opens. Make sure that the appropriate IP address for the PLC is displayed. In the Start WX location field, specify the vMemory location where the dedicated block for DataWorx communication will begin. Then click Auto Configure. DataWorx will write the listed configuration information to the PLC locations. This information includes the MAC address and the IP address of the DataWorx server. The PLC will use this information so it knows where it's supposed to send the database request to. Click OK. Back in the PLC configuration window, notice that the ladder logic button is enabled. Click the ladder logic button. A sample ladder logic rung is displayed for your reference. This refers to the busy bit information that needs to be filled in, as well as the slot location of the ECOM module in the PLC, the number of bytes that the PLC is expected to send to DataWorx, the vMemory location where the configuration begins for DataWorx, and the actual WX command. Click OK. At the bottom of the PLC configuration window, there is a list of PLC procedure categories: Insert, Delete, Select, and Update. These reflect the types of database operations that can be performed. Let's create the Insert Production Data PLC procedure. Click Add. In the PLC Procedure Properties window, select the table we wish to populate in the database, Production Data. Then, assign the PLC procedure a unique ID. An optional descriptive alias may also be specified. Make sure the Insert action is selected. Choose the Mappings tab. Here we will create a mapping between the vMemory source location in the PLC and the destination field in the database table. We will populate flow based on vMemory location 2021. The data type is decimal. Create a similar mapping for temperature. The PLC will only populate the flow and temperature fields. As we reviewed earlier in the database structure, the ID and the date timestamp fields are both defined in the table structure itself and are automatically assigned values when a record is added to the table. Click OK. Let's create the lookup recipe PLC procedure. Click Add. In the PLC Procedure Properties window, select the Recipes table, assign a unique ID, and specify an optional descriptive alias. Make sure the Select action is selected. For our demonstration, we will use the Direct response type. Click on the Where tab. In the Where tab, we specify which vMemory location in the PLC we want to use as the filter for DataWorx to look up a particular recipe. Later, we will put the recipe code in V2023. We want DataWorx to find the record in the table that has a code field equal to the contents in V2023. The data type is ASCII. In our case, the length will be 6. We need to specify an operator. DataWorx will locate the record where the code field is equal to the contents of V2023. Select the Mappings tab. Here we specify which fields in the table record will be written back to the PLC. Flour will be written back to V2026 and its assigned decimal type. Sugar will be written back to V2027. Sugar is assigned decimal type as well. Click OK. Both PLC procedures now show up in the PLC procedure list. Click OK. In the Server Configuration window, click OK. Note that the PLC configuration line now displays in the PLC section of the DataWorx PLC Professional Monitor window. The status is pending. DataWorx has not received any messages from the PLC. Once we trigger the latter, later in the tutorial, this status will change to OK and a date timestamp of when the last database operation was performed will display. This concludes Part 2 of the DataWorx PLC Professional Demonstration Setup. Coming up next in Part 3, we will work in DirectSoft to configure the rung for the WX command. Then we will trigger the command, once for the insert of production data, and again for the lookup of recipe information to write back to the PLC. In the DataWorx PLC Professional Monitor, we will confirm that the OK status shows up along with the expected date timestamp. Please contact us with any questions.